How comfortable are you in taking an inquiry call? Inquiry calls, our topic for today on Quick Start Your Success. So we want to master this inquiry call because there's so much to this. It is like the epitome of the great call. We're going to break it up into two sections, and they're going to fall in the order in which we take it. This first part, we want to make sure that the way we gather information as well as adding value to this call are done really, really well. So let's get started. Let's do a little refresher on our personalities. Remember when we spoke together, we talked about 4 personalities. And, in the days of old, taking a new patient call was a lot of times very earthy. Name, date of birth, address, and otherwise. But it leaves out the other elements. So remember, each element values something different. And we want to make sure that our inquiry call has something for everyone. So let's refresh ourselves. Our fires, they want those options and authority. We're going to give it to them by making sure that we offer appointments in a way that really resonates with them. For our earths, we're going to give them details and time to think about it. For our waters, we're going to give them direction and kindness by asking such questions as, is there anything else I can do to help you? And then those winds, flexibility and intention, we're going to give them some open-ended questions that allows them to really fully express themselves. Now, here's the mindset I want you to have. For this inquiry call, think of it like a first date. It's a first date, not an inquisition. So what do we think about? Is it a chore or is it a pleasure? First dates are usually pretty exciting. Is it data gathering or fostering dialogue and connection? And finally, is it a transaction or making a friend? So I'm going to put up 2 pictures, and I want you to see the contrast of where they are. Most of us start off a call with saying, okay, I'm going to grab some information. To me, it feels like this. Yep, come on. Give it up. Give it up. Oh, yeah, sure, thanks. Once we finally get it. That's not a first date mentality. What I want you to do is do things like this. May I ask what prompted you to call us today? Be curious. Give them space to express themselves. And then when they do offer it, like this, it shows, thank you, instead of, all right, next question. It's all about being polite and setting an impression for them. Now, if your office has qualifying questions, it may take the way you schedule this call in a different manner. If you have not already done so, I want you to begin thinking about this. For instance, here's some examples. If they are state insurance, do you send them in a different way? Do you schedule them in a different way? What if it's an adult that hasn't been seen by a dentist in over a year? Some offices may not even want to see them until they've done that as a first step, or you may schedule them differently. And then what about one who's reached you in a less conventional way? Are you going to do a mini exam or a tele-exam? Or are you going to schedule them differently? You want to uncover this first, but you do so without judgment. Here's an example. So I love this, how someone uncovers whether they're state insurance very early. They give them a heads up. Mrs. Jones, later on, we will gather insurance information, so you may want to get that information ready as we get started. And what tends to happen is, if it's a state person, they may say, oh, we're state insurance. And we'll say, oh, that's quite fine, and then go into how you want to respond to that. But it's not asking, do you have state insurance? And to them. So it's a very gentle way of doing so. Another key thing is, as we are asking questions, as we're giving information, we want to use benefit statements. A way to think about benefit statements is what's in it for them, as this picture shows. They want to not feel like you're getting everything for yourself, for yourself, for yourself. They want to know that if they offer something up, it's going to benefit them. Now, how do we know when a benefit statement's coming? They tend to have some cue words. They're lead-ins like this. May I have this so that, da da da. And what is your this? Because I will, or we're going to do this in order that we can. All of these are giving a little explanation as to why this piece of information given to you also benefits them. Here's a couple examples. In the unlikely event we are disconnected, what is the best number to reach you at? I would love to send you appointment details, so may I have an email that would work best for you? Or something like this. In order to provide you complete information at your consultation and to potentially reduce your out-of-pocket expense, do you have any insurance information available that we can check for you? All these things, you're asking for information, but you're telling them a reason that it's going to be a good idea for them to offer it. So we want to keep this in mind. Now, on to your solo. I know I've mentioned this before, but I like using this kind of picture. What comes next is going to be said in your fashion, but once you get it down, I want you to do it the same way every time. It is going to be, yes, scripted out, your words, but to a structure. And that is about our details, invite, and ask. It's this part of the call that many times gets left out. I can't tell you how many times, even brief details of how long the appointment's going to be never ever get mentioned. And the thought of inviting others, oh, that is, my goodness, I don't think I've ever heard somebody say that up front. So let's find an easy way to do this in a repeatable way. What I want you to think about is getting a routine to this. It's going to be quite simple because then you're going to go 3 main bullet points. So let's think about it. There's an overview. There is the doctor coming in, and then there's this part that the treatment coordinator is going to wrap things up. So always go in that order. Now, within each of those, I want you to think of a couple things for each one. So here are some examples. As an overview, let's talk about the amount of time and that photos or x-rays will be taken. And that will help uncover if somebody's anxious about the x-rays or if they have them. It's going to come up at that point. Then as we move on to the doctor's time, well, they do an exam and provide recommendations. And that fits for everybody. Think about it. The recommendations for a doctor are going to be, we need treatment, we are going to put you on an observation program, or there is something for you to do. No matter which of those paths the doctor recommends, it's still a recommendation. So we generalize it into the doctor providing recommendations. Finally, the treatment coordinator will walk them through next steps and financial arrangements if treatment's recommended. Again, generalized statements. So the next steps, well, it may be scheduling a start, scheduling a follow-up observation, or scheduling something with another practitioner. All those are next steps. So simply say it that way. And then we always include this financial arrangements if treatment's recommended. It provides a disqualifier along there or a disclaimer on there because you know that's what our callers are concerned about, is talking about financial arrangements. But we also want to say if treatment's recommended so that it doesn't give the impression to the caller that if you come in, everybody gets something recommended. Everybody's going to have to pay money. Doing something like this then turns all these details into a very melodic way of presenting them. Let me say it for you. Mrs. Jones, as we turn to the calendar, let me tell you what to expect. You will be here for a 60-minute exam where we will take photos and x-rays. Then the doctor will come in and do a full exam and provide recommendations. And we'll wrap up with the treatment coordinator walking you through the next steps as well as any financial arrangements if treatment's recommended. Did you hear it? Ba-da, da-da, da-da. Da-da, da-da, da-da. We wanted to sound like that instead of na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Batman, where you're rambling and rambling. No. Stick to a plan and you'll never lose your way. Now, that's details. We got to go into the invite and ask. Let's talk about the invite. This is the part that most people go, ugh, I can't do it. It sounds so unnatural. But let's break it down. Before we get into that, here is a great time. If you have multiple offices, ask here. It's when you say, now we do have offices in A, B, or C. Which office will be most convenient for you? The reason being is you will have already been talking for a period of time and this interjects into there. It helps that caller from going into this fading out kind of mode. So interject this and re-engage them. Then it's very easy to put the invite in because it almost feels like, I almost forgot the best part. So let's talk about what it is. We have to have a benefit statement on this invite. Otherwise, it looks very self-seeking. Now, yes, we do want to have everybody attend because if we have everyone there, it eliminates the factor of this person who has come in trying to relay the feel and information back to another person. So having everyone here is a benefit to us to speak to everybody, but it's also a benefit to them because then everybody gets to hear everything all at once. So we're going to use a benefit statement. And the benefit statement is we have to think about what's special, what's unique about this time. Now, if you have a mini exam, it may be something different. But let's talk about the traditional long exam, full consultation. And it's really the time with the doctor. Many of us put a lot of emphasis there. If the doctor does not spend time in there, we can come up with something unique. But for most of us, it means there is extended time with the doctor in this exam. Think about it. When the patient is in treatment, it's not like the doctor would not stop and talk to a parent or to the patient about any questions. But it's in a more distracted manner because it's not built into the schedule that way. Here is where it's built into the schedule. Here is where it's designed for questions to get answered. So that's what's so special about this time. So we want to invite all involved. And I say all involved or everyone involved because it really wraps our arms around anyone and keeps us from going, oh, putting a foot in our mouth and saying, is your husband, is your wife, is your significant other coming? It generalizes it because in today's society, we no longer have family trees. It's almost like we have family bushes or family groves because everyone involved may even be a grandma, an aunt, an uncle, a sibling. You never know. So it generalizes it enough to keep us from embarrassing ourselves. So here is how it sounds. Mrs. Jones, this is going to be a great time for you to get extended time with the doctor so that, there's the benefit statement, everyone involved can get their questions answered. That doesn't feel bad. And it's almost like, oh yeah, good idea. Think about it. Let's generalize. A lot of times it's that mom coming in and sometimes they've got, one of those significant others who is a question asker when they get home. I mean, they're going to get the inquisition at home. And if you prompt it so that everyone can get their questions answered, all of a sudden they're going like, oh yeah, yeah, I'm getting him here so they can ask you all the questions instead of asking me all the questions. And we put this all right before we start making the appointment because now we've got it in their head. Husband might not work on Mondays. Let me see if I can get that in. So you're really priming the pump for them to actually think about it as they're setting the appointment. If you set the appointment before saying this, and now we say it afterwards, they may think, oh yeah, I could probably have him there. But it's not worth going back and resetting the appointment. So it's very strategic as to where we put it. Now the ask. Here's the other part that people hate to do, but it's so important. Any reply is good. I don't care what they say. Anything they say is giving us information. So we do this. We want to ask it curiously and wait for a response. So pause after you invited them and then say, so should we expect anyone else to attend with you? Get that acting skills on. Do the scrunch your shoulders. This is the one time I do want you to scrunch your shoulders. And wait for the response. Don't sit there and say, so is anyone else going to be attending with you? No? Okay, blah, 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 and move right on. No. Pause and give a thoughtful response. Think about it. If they say, yes, my husband may attend, or yes, their dad may attend. Wonderful. What is their name? And go ahead and get that name. And if they say no, we want to show that we are empathetic to that. So if they say no, say, we understand. So keywords, we understand. That's why we can either Skype them in, we can conference call them in, or that's why we'll send you home with an information packet with all the details. We're showing empathy here as well. So let's say the whole thing. Let me go for you. Mrs. Jones, as we turn to the calendar, you will be here for a 60-minute appointment where we will take photos and x-rays. The doctor will then come in, do a full exam, and provide recommendations. Finally, our treatment coordinator will walk you through next steps and financial arrangements if treatment's recommended. We do have offices located at A, B, or C. Which one would work best for you? C? Wonderful. Oh, and as this is one of those unique times to get dedicated time with the doctor, it's a great time for anyone involved to get their questions answered. Do you think anyone else will be attending with you? No? Oh, we understand. That's why we'll make sure to send you home with an information packet providing you all the details. Now, my first available appointment is this or this. Which one works best for you? Easy, right? I know you can do this. All right. So that's how we get information and how we do the details, invite, and ask. The first part of the inquiry call. Till next time, go communicate excellence.